What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. I wanted to tell you the 3 lessons that I learned from running the Moab 240 ultra marathon in October of 2023. So in October of last year, I did something called the Triple Crown of 200s, where I ran 3 200-mile races over the course of 3 months. So it was like the Tahoe 200, which was in July, then 18 days later I did the Bigfoot 200, and then like a month and a half later I did the Moab 240, which actually ended up being about 250 miles on my Coros Vertex 2. And so Candace, it was actually 250 miles. No, but in all seriousness, I wanted to tell you the 3 things that I learned from doing this last race, the Moab 240, because it's something that you can really take from my experience and implement it if you're running your next ultra marathon, 50K, even up to 100, 200 mile races. And so the first thing that I would tell you is to definitely brief your crew on what to expect throughout the race. So in the past, I've kind of been like, hey, do you want to come help and do this and do that? But I didn't give my crew the right expectations to come in. And so one thing I've realized over the course of me doing all these ultra marathons is my crew has not been through a lot of them 100-mile races, even 200-mile races, and all of that. So they're not going to understand exactly what I'm going through during these races. I mean, I'll throw up some of the videos of what I go through during these races, but like at Moab at mile 126, I mean, going and like looking like you're so out of it and so like discombobulated, like I almost looked like I was high because I was just sleep deprived. I was tired. I hadn't eaten enough probably at that point, and all of those things were compounding, and it's hard for your crew to see you looking like that, especially when you're usually vibrant, you're usually lively, and they see you suffering. And in reality, we know doing these things, doing these ultra marathons, that there is going to be suffering involved, but your crew, your family, all that doesn't want to see that, or doesn't like to. It's hard for people who love you to see you in pain. And like for instance, my mom was texting me and my crew that I should take down this video that my crew posted of me during Moab because I look so discombobulated. And so yeah, that would be my number one thing, because or not number one, but one of the most important things is to brief your crew, because one thing I've also found is that during the course of these races, I always have my crew end up like calling my coach, beginning like, hey, Pierce is slowing down, it's dealing with this, what would you do? And yeah, 100% they've called my coach and he's really helped out. But maybe if I set the proper expectations, they would feel less overwhelmed, feel less worried about me and whatever I'm going through. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I would talk to you about, and this is a little bit different from like 100-milers and shorter ultra marathons than 200s, is when you get into the 200-mile distance, you really got to focus on your sleep. You really got to be able to really strategize on that, because I tried out a couple different things during the Triple Crown of 200s. The first race, I slept basically every night. The Tahoe 200, it started at 9 a.m. so I slept at like midnight, 2 a.m. when I was about 60 miles in, slept the next night, and slept after that, about 2 or so hours a night. And then for Bigfoot, I was so pumped up, I was so amped up, I was ahead of schedule and all that I wasn't tired, so I just kept moving forward and through the night, which was difficult, but I was able to make it through. And so for Moab 240, I figured I'd do the same thing, because it was a noon start, so it started later, which was weird. Usually all the races I do are in the morning. And then I got to where I would have slept, and I was like, man, I'm not tired. I should keep going. I mean, I was tired, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't like sleepy, and so I kept going. But one of the things that I realized, and you'll see in this documentary that I'm coming out on my YouTube channel, once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna release that documentary onto YouTube. So shameless plug, if you're not subscribed, subscribe so that I'll release the documentary faster. So you'll see in that documentary, there was one time during the Moab 240 where it was like middle of the day, but since it was so hot and all of that, and I was so sleepy, like I was having a really hard time running these trails because it was difficult. I mean, I was running on 3, maybe 4 hours of sleep at this point. I mean, I'm 100 miles into this race. I've been on my feet for almost 2 days straight. It was hard. One of the most important things is to like rejuvenate with, even if it's a little quick nap, just to get you going, and you'll see in that documentary, that's what happens. But so yeah, that's sleep. And I'll admit, I still don't think I have 100% dialed in, but it's getting closer. I'm getting closer and closer to it. So that's one thing. Brief your crew, get in your sleep, and then, dude, comedy. You need to have your crew and pacers bring some jokes. Come prepared with jokes. And I go into this more in another video that I've got on like the things you need to tell your crew before the race. If you're running a marathon or ultra marathon soon, definitely check that out. But especially these ultra marathons, 100 milers, 200 milers, anything you can do to kind of make yourself laugh, like that will help you kind of get out of like the mode and the hurt that you're in, and laugh and just live a little like carefree. And when you're 80 miles in, 100, 150, 200 miles in to a 240 mile race, you're gonna be exhausted, you're gonna be tired, and you may not be doing a 240 mile race, but like you can definitely apply that concept to a 50 miler, to a 100 miler, whatever you've got upcoming. So those are 3 things that I learned from running the Moab 240 endurance run in 2023.